Number of COVID-19 cases rises to 987 in the state. 35 people have succumbed to COVID-19 and 460 people have been discharged after recovering. 5 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in the city, while 3 cases have been identified as contacts of patient number 554. Patient number 969 contracted the virus from patient number 555. Yet another individual has succumbed to COVID-19 in the city. The individual identified as patient number 796 was a 60-year-old man who had been admitted after complaining of influenza-like illness. The infected individual, who hailed from Andhra Pradesh, passed away at the Victoria Hospital. In some tragic news, the last rites of the deceased patient number 796 is likely to be held without the family members being present. This because the family members comprising of the deceased's wife and son have been quarantined after they tested positive as well. Furthermore, as the individual hailed from Andhra Pradesh, none of the relatives will be able to attend the funeral. It has now been reported that the deceased patient number 796 had been treated with the plasma therapy at the Victoria Hospital. However, the therapy reportedly failed to cure the individual who succumbed. A team of experts at the Victoria Hospital had administered the plasma therapy to the man. The plasma therapy treatment had been launched in the state to help cure the infected COVID-19 patients. BBMP's war room data cites that close to 124 active cases have been reported from the 20 containment zones. Among these, PADARAYANAPURA has reported the highest with 49 active cases, while Hongasandra has reported close to 38 cases. KR Market, Hampi Nagar, Yeshwantpura are some of the other wards that have reported active cases. The first train from New Delhi arrived at the Krantivira Sangoli Rayana station at Majestic. Commuters were screened by the health officials, who then escorted them to the BMTC buses, waiting to take them to the hotels. Passengers were then divided into batches based on the hotel that they had chosen and made to board the bus. Passengers who opted for 5-star hotels for quarantine were sent in the first batch. BMTC charged a ticket fare of 50 rupees for travel to hotels within the city, while longer journeys were charged a fare of 100 rupees. A few commuters who arrived from Delhi were seen arguing with police and health officials as well. These passengers reportedly refused to undergo hotel quarantine. Some of them even said that they were unaware about the quarantine norms. A few passengers even argued with authorities that they do not have money to pay the hotel rent. Some of them even tried to escape from the railway station to avoid quarantine.
यहाँ पे हो रहा है। मैडम आपको पता था अंदर जाओ, कोई डिस्टेंसिंग नहीं है, कहीं कोई नहीं है। आपको पता था क्वारंटाइन रखते हैं? कुछ नहीं मालूम, अभी यहाँ आने के बाद पता लगा है। कुछ नहीं बता रहे हैं, अगर आता तो हम लोग को कुत्ते ने काटा था क्या? उतनी दूर से हम लोग यूपी से आ रहे हैं सफर करके। ट्रेन में इतना गंदा है, ट्रेन टॉयलेट में पानी नहीं है, पीने का पानी की तो बात ही छोड़ दो।
Thousands of stranded migrant laborers are suffering owing to the lockdown, but the misery does not end here. The stranded workers who arrived in the city are now requesting the government to put home quarantine seal and send them back to their homes. All those passengers who arrived from Delhi staged a protest in the KSR railway station. They complained that authorities failed to provide food and water and are demanding that the officials put them in home quarantine. Revenue Minister RASHOKA said that inbound passengers must cooperate with the government and should go to the designated quarantine centers. He further added that there is no room for home quarantine solely because with the ease and restriction on lockdown, there are chances that people might roam around and spread the virus.
ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಿಗದಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ರೀತಿ ಟ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋರಾಗಲಿ ಫ್ಲೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋರಾಗಲಿ ಕ್ವಾರಂಟೈನ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ನಿರ್ದೇಶನಗಳೇನಿದೆ ಆ ನಿರ್ದೇಶನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಸೂಚಿಸುವ ಕಡೆ ಅವರು ಕ್ವಾರಂಟೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಬೇಕು.
More than 700 passengers arrived in Bengaluru from Delhi and 700 passengers agreed to be quarantined. 150 passengers, however, refused to stay in the quarantine center. They requested the officials to send them back to Delhi as they do not have any means of staying here and they do not want to stay in the quarantine center arranged by the government.
Private ನಾವು ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಕ್ವಾರಂಟೈನ್ಗೂ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಫ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಾರಂಟೈನ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೂ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಪೇನೂ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಸುತ್ತು ಮಾತುಕತೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಆಗ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ವಾಪಸ್ಸೇ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಡಿ, ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅಂತ.
BMTC drivers and conductors who have been deployed to ferry the train commuters complained of being forced to work without breakfast. The staff complained that they had been asked to report for duty as early as 5 a.m. The staff also alleged that their senior officials had failed to respond to their requests. BBMP officials came to the rescue of a few North Indian migrant workers stranded in the city. Close to 94 migrant workers hailing from Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh were searching for means of transportation to head back to their hometowns. BBMP officials have housed them at the Bengaluru International Exhibition Centre as of now.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಬಿಹಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಜಾರ್ಖಂಡ್ರು ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ತುಂಬ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸಿಟಿ ತುಂಬ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಬಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಆದೇಶದ ಮೇರೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪಲ್ಲಿ ರೋಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂರಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನು ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಅವರ ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಆದೇಶದ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೇರಿಸಿ.
The quarantining of Hongasandra residents is posing to be a headache for the officials. Health officials had quarantined close to 188 Hongasandra residents after several COVID cases were reported from the area. This included the Bihari migrants and local residents. And now, despite having completed their quarantine, the Bihari migrants are refusing to leave. The migrants said that they will continue to stay at the hotel until their infected relatives are discharged after recovery. Meanwhile, the locals who had been quarantined have also asked to be released at the earliest. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa held a cabinet meeting with ministers in Vidhana Sabha. Certain key decisions were taken in the cabinet meeting and several amendments were made. Law Minister Madhuswamy said that 137 crore rupees has been set aside for farmers under relief package. MLC CM Ibrahim had written a letter to Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa requesting him to permit Muslims to observe prayer in Eidgah Maidan. Tourism Minister C.T. Ravi slammed Ibrahim for seeking permission for mass prayers during the lockdown and said due to Nizamuddin Markaz, the virus has spread aggressively and the state government cannot let another disaster take place in the city. The state government has approved the BBMP budget for the financial year 2020-21. The government reduced an allocation of 254 crore rupees in the budget and approved a budget outlay of 11,715 crore rupees. The budget had been tabled via video conference owing to the lockdown and the need to maintain social distancing. The budget session had been attended by BBMP corporators from their ward offices via video conference. Continuing with its relaxations, the state government has permitted microbreweries in a state to function. However, the state government has imposed certain restrictions. Accordingly, the previous stock of beer unfit for human consumption would need to be drained. Also, other measures like a maximum staff of 5 people and social distancing will need to be followed. The microbreweries will operate between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. The regional passport Seva Kendras at Lalbagh and Marathalli are all set to resume operations from the 15th of May. However, the applicants have been advised to follow several measures including wearing masks, carrying sanitizers and maintaining social distancing. The applicants have also been asked to install the Arogya Setu app on their phones before coming to the office. In a major reversal of the relaxation announced by the centre, the Indian Railways cancelled all passenger trains till June 30th. The Railways also announced to fully refund the ticket fares. The decision comes in the backdrop of the government's initiative to contain the spread of the dreaded coronavirus. However, the Shramik trains deployed to ferry stranded migrants will continue to operate. Mangamanapalli has turned out to be one of the hotbeds of COVID-19 transmission in the city. So far, 4 people have tested positive for COVID-19, including that of a food delivery agent, and officials have quarantined more than 20 COVID-19 suspects. BBMP officials have sealed off the area and have requested the officials not to come out of their houses. And the BBMP workers are also sanitizing the area to limit the spread of COVID-19. With several COVID-19 cases being reported in PADARAYANAPURA, cops continue to maintain strict vigil in the area. Additional police force was deployed after violence had erupted while quarantining the contacts of infected individuals. BBMP officials have begun mass testing patients in PADARAYANAPURA. They identified high-risk patients, which includes pregnant women, older adults and people who are in poor health. And on Friday, officials are planning to identify those who had roamed around outside during the lockdown and screen them. PADARAYANAPURA residents are reportedly using an escape route to avoid police vigil and get out of their containment zone. According to the residents of the neighbouring wards, PADARAYANAPURA citizens have been crossing the walls and walking across the train tracks to cross over to their neighbouring ward. This has created a fear among the residents of the other wards as several cases of COVID-19 have been reported from PADARAYANAPURA. Residents of Shivajinagar continue to remain careless and venture near the containment zone. Several residents were seen venturing out. A few were seen not wearing masks while walking near the HKP road inside the containment zone. Residents of Ramakrishna Layout are up in arms against the officials for their decision to quarantine all those passengers who arrived from North India. They demand that authorities quarantine them elsewhere, as Ramakrishna Layout has been identified as a green zone with no positive cases so far. The Atinagar cops seized 2 lorries transporting government ration kits that were allegedly being diverted. According to the cops, the ration kits were slated to be sold at a price of 150 rupees on the black market. The ration kits prepared by the Labour Department are to be freely distributed to the daily wagers and migrant workers who are bearing the brunt of the lockdown. The recent seizure seems to be exposing a cash for ration kits scam in the city. CCB sleuths arrested 5 men on suspicion of robbery and conspiracy to commit a crime in Pina industrial area. CCB cops seized lethal weapons from them and a case has been registered at the Pina police station. The 5 men are identified as Raghu, Ganesh, Ranjan, Sunil Kumar and Rajshekhar.